York Regional Police just told you to comply with intruders during a home invasion. Is this a protection strategy or a complete embarrassment to policing and Canada as a whole?
While we don't want homeowners to feel powerless, we urge you to call 911 and do everything you can to keep yourself and loved ones safe until police arrive.
Police tell us that 3 male suspects entered through the rear of this home here on Andrita and Barons, forced their way into the home, and then the victim.
In the unlikely event that you find yourself the victim of a home invasion, we are urging citizens not to take matters into their own hands and be the best witness possible. Best witness possible. Witness possible. Possible.
This was not a suggestion. This was a threat. If you don't listen, I'm going to show you what happens.
Case of Lindsay, Ontario native Jeremy McDonald has struck a chord not just with Ontarians, but with people across Canada. You know the story. Jeremy McDonald asleep in his home at 3 a.m., which is a good thing to do at 3 a.m. when someone breaks into his home with a crossbow, which is a weapon that means to kill. Incredibly, McDonald manages to get the best of it, and in an altercation leaves the intruder, a serial criminal known to police. Well, I won't describe the details of it. I'll let the court hear them. But let me just say the intruder was repelled. Police came charge the intruder, but also charged Jeremy with very serious offenses. I think assault with a weapon was the name of one, or aggravated assault. These are not minor charges. And if the intruder happens to die, and I hope he doesn't, those charges could be elevated to manslaughter.
I'm wishing all the best for our friend in Lindsay. I don't know who it was, but people are at their peak with this violence. I mean, with the violence.
The people are also fed up with getting told to comply while there's home intruders threatening your family's safety, while we pay for security for politicians.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in West End, Toronto. And folks, I'm on the street where the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, lives. And I got to tell you, I think just by coincidence, we arrived at a point in which Premier Ford is departing, because I see a police presence. I see all kinds of black Chevy Suburban SUVs. Those are the de rigueur vehicles for transporting the political elite. And it's actually amazing, because my cameraman Maurizio and I, we were just coming here, not to, pay a house call. We know how that would go. But just to indicate, in light of the Lindsay, Ontario home invasion, the hypocrisy when it comes to Doug Ford. Now, you know the story. Jeremy McDonald had his home broken into at 3:20 in the morning, and the alleged invader, that would be Mike Breen, 41, armed allegedly with a crossbow. He fought back, and now, in addition to Breen facing charges, so does Jeremy McDonald, aggravated assault and assault with a weapon. But what was he to do? And a lot of people have weighed in on this story. It's getting international attention, including the Premier. Check out what he had to say last week.
Did everyone hear about the story in Lindsay? So this criminal that's wanted by the police breaks into this guy's house. This guy gives him a beating, and this guy gets charged. And the other guy gets charged. But something is broken. I know if someone breaks into my house or someone else's, you're going to fight for your life. This guy has a weapon. You're going to use any force you possibly can to protect your family. I'm telling you, I know everyone would.
Really, Doug? Really? Do you expect us to believe this? Here's the difference between a regular Joe like Jeremy McDonald and Premier Doug Ford. As you can see, there are armed police officers everywhere. They're here 24/7. Usually it's one cruiser. For some reason today I see at least two. Some of these Suburbans might be unmarked cruisers. The point is, Doug Ford is not going to fight for his life. He's never going to be in a position to fight for his life. He's going to have his armed police officers do the dirty work for him.
4 thugs come racing down my street, masks on, ready to take the car out of the driveway. Surprise, surprise, at 12:30, the 2 police cars are there. The chase is on. So they chase him. One guy runs out, takes off. They capture him, and they catch these other guys. But just imagine all the unfortunate people that don't have security there at their house with masks on, and they had all the tools ready to break in and everything, and guess what's going to happen? They're going to be back out. Why don't you guys come over for a barbecue tonight? I'll take care of you better than the police. And thank God the police got you, and I never did.
So again, I'm calling bullshit on that statement. Secondly, being the premier, when he says the system is broken, well, fix the system. You are the premier. You can beef up the castle domain laws. Why aren't you doing that instead of just, saying all the right things and shedding tears that I would say are of the crocodilian variety?
So we're going to hold these guys accountable, and I will be all over the Prime Minister about bail reform. So thank you.
Back in the day, I remember going to this house. This is where Ford Fest was staged. You'd have thousands of people coming to the home that was originally belonged to the mother of Doug Ford and the dearly departed Rob Ford. Oh gosh, do I miss that guy.
Councillor Ford, please direct the question through the chair to the staff.
Again, who do I speak to about the proper code of conduct?
Leave me alone. They got 5 months for him. And them trying to tell me, bro, we're counter surveilling the guy. You know what I mean? He's hiding here. I'm hiding here.
And Doug Ford used to be a guest at Rebel Live events. Oh yeah, he really was.
I can assure you, as they say, the first through the door to make changes, they get a little bloodied. And man, was that an understatement. And in saying that, I welcome the nasty media here. There's a nasty Toronto Star back there, because they're about the worst media outlet, in my opinion, I've ever seen. And I guess, I guess they brought their cousins, the New York Times. They're just as nasty. And it comes down to the dishonest media.
And now, for some reason, we are media non grata. He will not allow us into his press conferences. The bottom line is this. Premier Ford can pretend he's outraged by the Lindsay home invasion fiasco. He can say all the right things, but will he do the right things? There's zero evidence that he's going to bolster castle laws. There's zero evidence he's going to call off his Crown prosecutors from pursuing this case while downgrading the charges of real criminals. That is egregious and outrageous. And in the final analysis, folks, as you can see behind me, Doug Ford and his family members can go to bed at night with not a care in the world. And I'm happy for that. I don't want harm on anyone. But the fact is, he has armed police security 24/7. As for the rest of us, hey, you're on your own, baby. And if anything bad should happen, oh, don't worry. We'll have a candlelight vigil for you. You will be in our hearts and minds as we place teddy bears and flowers where the atrocity took place.
We're going to go a little bit deeper into the suggestions/threats of the York Regional Police.
As you all know, we have experienced a particularly violent few weeks here in York Region, which is both concerning and, of course, disappointing to all of us. In the last 2 weeks, there have been 2 fatal shootings, an arson that has claimed the life of an 11-year-old girl.
Live with the latest details, Raheem.
Michelle, we learned today that the 11-year-old girl lost her life yesterday. She succumbed to the injuries which she sustained during this house fire here in Richmond Hill early Monday morning. 4 other members of her family are still in hospital right now. No one is in custody. York Regional Police are now investigating this house fire in Richmond Hill as a homicide after an 11-year-old girl succumbed to her injuries.
At this time, based on the evidence collected during the course of the investigation, the fire is believed to be an arson.
4 other members of her family are still fighting for their lives in hospital, all in critical condition. The 911 call came in on Monday just before 3 a.m. Firefighters found 4 of the victims unconscious inside the home. CTV News has confirmed that 70-year-old Mahmoud Bahari Kashari, a retired surgeon, and his 59-year-old wife Hale were home when the fire started, along with their 2 adult daughters and their 11-year-old granddaughter.
Yeah, I keep tracking the news almost every day. Yesterday it was so sad.
According to multiple neighbors, the 11-year-old girl and her mother recently moved in with their family and confirmed that police were called to the home earlier this summer for some type of incident. Police have not confirmed if there is any connection. Disheartened neighbors are starting a memorial in front of the burned house for the kind and quiet family.
It's neighborly and just been here for 20 years, so I just want to pay my respect.
Police have not released any information on potential suspects or established a motive for the arson. Across the street from the home, investigators did find a red gas can and backpack, which they say is suspicious.
The gas can that you're referring to was located approximately 100 meters from the house at a nearby school property. We'd be remiss not to believe, or at least not to exhaust everything around that area to see if it's connected to the scene.
And left 4 others in critical condition. And an additional shooting and home invasion which left 1 person injured. In the unlikely event that you find yourself the victim of a home invasion, we are urging citizens not to take matters into their own hands. While we don't want homeowners to feel powerless, we urge you to call 911 and do everything you can to keep yourself and loved ones safe until police arrive and be the best witness possible. This could mean locking yourself in a room away from the perpetrators, hiding, fleeing the home, but don't engage unless absolutely necessary.
At this time, it is believed the house was specifically targeted for a robbery. We are still looking into any and all motives behind the robbery, but currently we believe this to be based on a monetary gain only. Mr. Faroki was not in any way involved in criminal activities. By all accounts, and from speaking with members of the community, Mr. Faroki was well respected, a great family man, and loved by his community.
I'm Detective Sergeant Boulay of our hold-up unit. I'm going to provide 2 updates in relation to 2 recent home invasions that occurred in the region of York. The first one being on August 31st in the area of Major Mackenzie Drive and Highway 27. At approximately 2:20 a.m., 3 suspects forced entry into the residence by smashing the glass out of the front door. At the time of the incident, 2 adults and 2 children, aged 6 and 9, were within the residence. At least one of those suspects was armed with a firearm. Shortly after entering the residence, the suspects fled to an awaiting vehicle being operated by a 4th suspect. We believe that vehicle to be a dark-colored SUV, possibly a Ford Edge. The suspects are all described as males who are wearing masks and gloves. You're about to see a video of the incident transpiring as the suspects enter that residence. That investigation is currently still ongoing, and investigators are reviewing evidence associated to that incident. The second incident I'm going to discuss occurred on September 1st in the area of Hepburn Street and Ash Grove Road in the city of Markham. This incident involves a kidnapping that occurred on the morning of Monday, September 1st, which was then followed by an armed home invasion, which resulted in 1 victim being shot. The following sequence of events are believed to be what transpired leading up to the shooting. At approximately 8 a.m., a 29-year-old female victim was operating her vehicle in the city of Markham when she was intentionally struck by one of 2 suspect vehicles in the area of McCowan Road and 407. Not realizing this was an intentional incident, the victim stopped her vehicle, exited to inspect the damage, at which point the second suspect vehicle, believed to be an older model brown or gray van, drove up next to her and forced her into the vehicle and restrained her. Following the kidnapping, 5 suspects attended the victim's residence in Markham, where an armed home invasion occurred. During that incident, a 54-year-old male was shot. Given the recent incidents that we have seen here today, York Regional Police are reminding citizens to remain vigilant of their surroundings. Ensure your home surveillance systems are functioning and recording. Ensure your home alarm systems are functioning and audible. Have a cell phone charged and available in the case of an emergency. Ensure you have sufficient lighting on the exterior of your residence and that sight lines to entrance points are clear. Ensure all of your locking mechanisms are working and in good order. Be a good neighbor. Look out for each other. Have a safety plan with your family in the case of an emergency. Do all persons in your residence have a cell phone readily accessible to them? Be less attractive to becoming a target. Don't keep excessive valuables within your residence. Most importantly, we're encouraging you not to engage with the suspects or put up resistance. Comply with demands for property that are being made to ensure additional violence is not targeted towards you or your family. Most importantly, we're encouraging you not to engage with the suspects or put up resistance. Comply with demands for property that are being made to ensure additional violence is not targeted towards you or your family. Thank you.
We're now going to open it up to questions from the media. We ask that you attend to the microphone on the side here, provide your name, the media outlet you're with, and one question and one follow-up question, and who that question is directed to.
Good morning, Momin Qureshi, 680 News Radio. Chief, I'd like to ask you a question. You just gave some strong advice to people who may be victims of home invasions to not try to, cause any problems, hide, play defense, protect yourself. But over the last couple of weeks, the Premier, has been pretty vocal about having the right to defend yourself, to take action. He even went so far as to say he'd rather be judged by a jury of his 12 peers than carried out by 6 people. I mean, this is contrary to what you're saying. Do you have any concerns about the fact that the Premier is saying you should stand up for yourself and you should defend yourself?
And I love the one, I think it was a year ago, when the guy in the LCBO, just a customer, he stood up and held him accountable. I'd love to meet that guy one day. You gave him a couple slugs in the head. They deserve a slug in the head every once in a while.
No, I have no concerns. The Premier can make his own statement and his own mind up about that. What I would say is, as our police service, we'll follow the laws as they're written. If the laws change, we'll change with the laws. But as it stands, we know the best defense for most people is to comply. As you've just heard, a number of safety recommendations will allow for those that are victimizing members in the community to leave and not harm anyone. It sometimes can fall on deaf ears when members feel like they have to take matters into their own hands. And the only thing I'd say is, if we are going to rely on our community members to take matters into their own hands to solve this problem, we have all failed our community. So I'll leave political comments to the politicians and let them have those conversations. But for now, the laws are written, we'll follow those laws.
But I guess you are hoping that people kind of heed your advice more than the Premier's here, that if they do find themselves in this situation, that they should do the best they can to kind of stay away from the criminals.
My advice is to rely on our police service, call 911 immediately, and let us take it from there.
We've seen the home invasions take about 30 seconds to a minute tops. Let's see the response times.
We see more often than not when people comply that injuries are not happening and people are not victimized in terms of injury or in this case, unfortunately, we've seen the loss of life in some of these incidents.
Shalini Thong, CTV News Toronto. My question's in regard to the home invasion and death of Mr. Faruqi. You made the distinction that he was not the intended target. He was not involved in any criminality. But it was still said that you believe the home was targeted. We spoke to the family yesterday. They took serious exception to that. We also know that there was a second invasion in the same neighborhood an hour and a half later. Can we get any detail as to how you know that this was targeted for monetary value in any way?
Yeah, I'll turn it over to Inspector Fiore on the investigation.
This investigation, it's like I stated before, it's at its early stages. The motive is still being established. We believe that from the information we've learned, that they were in the house for a home invasion and to take valuables, and we're not able to speak any further to those details at this time.
It was also said on the day after that there was no threat to public safety, but 2 home invasions in the same neighborhood within 90 minutes of each other. Is there a threat? There seems to be danger that these people are still out there and it could happen to seemingly any home in the neighborhood. Is there a way to draw that line to say why there is no threat to public safety if it's happened twice in the same neighborhood, seemingly at random?
Well, basically, when that comes out that there's no threat to public safety, we're under the belief that through our investigations that these are targeted addresses. They're not just random home invasions. Generally, the individuals, the suspects, are going in for a purpose with some type of motive to get whatever they're looking for. So that's why I believe the issue of public safety is broadly out there, that it's not just complete random places. They're targeted addresses.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify, so these guys thought something was in there that they were looking for, not just cell phones.
Yes.
So what is the state of self-defense in Canada, especially in your home? There is no excuse whatsoever. There's no lawful justification for breaking into a man's home at night. So why is it that the police have charged him? We've done some talking and interviewing on this subject. My colleague Tamara Ugolini talked at length with a criminal lawyer on the matter. But I think an excellent survey of the state of the law was done by Tristan Hopper, a columnist with the National Post. In his compendium called First Reading, he writes, "You can legally shoot, stab, and bludgeon home invaders in Canada, but that doesn't mean prosecutors won't put you through a years-long legal odyssey." And joining us now to talk about that is Tristan Hopper. Tristan, thanks so much for making the time. You really went through these cases. How did you find them all?
Pretty easy. It's something I've sort of been looking at on and off since 2011. So there are some sort of, if you speak to sort of legal experts or lawyers who specialize in them, there's a few sort of cases they'll point you to. There's a few that are high profile, and then there's a few that have gone under the radar. So I guess what's interesting about Lindsay, Ontario is this is obviously getting a lot of attention. You have everybody from Daniel Smith to Doug Ford weighing in on them. But it's not an atypical case. There's been any number of cases just in the last few years, very similar, in which someone's asleep in their home, home invaders, they either kill them or injure them, and they are faced with criminal charges. So cases like this have happened a lot. This one, probably because crime is so high right now, and it's easy for all of us to sort of imagine ourselves in the shoes of Mr. McDonald, is getting more attention than is typical.
I think you're right. I think there's a few layers. First of all, this guy is a known serial criminal, and he was out on the street. I think that bothers a lot of people, and we hear that story more often than the opposite. I think the brazenness of it, I mean, breaking into a house at that hour, and there were accomplices on the street, and the crossbow is just crazy. And I think my theory, Tristan, is that one of the reasons police charged Jeremy McDonald, the homeowner, is because they want to tamp down any member of the public who's getting big ideas about finding an alternative solution to home security other than the police. I mean, we all know the Toronto police officer whose advice was have your key fob to your car near the front door so that when your home is raided, it's easy for the criminals and they don't linger. If that is what the state does to protect us, maybe some more adventurous men are going to say, yeah, you know what? I'll let others take that advice. I'm going to defend my own house.